Hey there, it's Kelly with Kellyscards.ca, and I'm so glad you could join me for this video. I've been making this vintage album and I thought I would finish it up on a video today. If you like the layout of the video, I will link to another video I did showing how to build this album. So basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it a Paris styled vintage album, and fitting that I would use the papers from this GCD Paris Nights collection. Now this was a collection that was out a few years ago, but I'd bought so much of it that I still have quite a bit of it. So that's the collection I'm using for this album. I'm just going to decorate the various areas in this album. There's quite a few little interactive pullouts and pockets, and completely do the front. So to start out here, what I've done is I've taken a little bit of this pattern paper from the collection and I've cut it out, inked it up, and matted it up on black cardstock. Now to add some bit of design to it, I took this die from this Spellbinder set. I have these Spellbinders fleur-de-lis accents and motifs that I have used throughout this album, just various dies, and I really like it because it adds so much to the album. So what I've chosen to do is I'm actually going to use these thin foam squares just to lift up all of my images so it's not too bulky, but there is some dimension in this album. So to start out, I'm going to just take some of these squares. So what I've done is I've added those foam adhesive squares, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this, and I think it would look really great at an angle sitting like this, showing the sewing lines here. So what I'm going to do is add that there, and working into this section here, what I'd like to do is to have some journaling spots inside the flaps that close. So maybe not here, but inside here. So if I have picked out some lined paper from the paper collection, and all I've done is cut and ink it once again and put it on the black cardstock. For this, I don't want to put it up on pop dots, because if someone's going to write or do some journaling on the back, it would be pretty bumpy. So before you place it down, you can kind of move it around to see where you want it. I want to make sure I get that butterfly close to the end, so I'm going to have it going up like so. Now for the butterfly, I'm just going to use one of these Zots, and then I think what I'll do is I'll add it here like so, and then what I'll do is I'm going to add some bling to the center of this butterfly. Again, I don't want to have anything too bulky, so I'm just going to use one of these little tiny gold bling just to add a little decoration in the middle there, as you can see. And what I'd like to do is add some gold accents throughout this album, just to add a little bit of a change of color from the dark grays, the dark blacks, and of course the brown from the inking. For this middle section, I've picked out this Paris image, as well as this one and this cute little bingo card, and I thought I'd like to arrange it in a way that it would bring some interest into this album, something similar like that, just to add some interest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the two back ones down flat, and then I'm going to use pop dots, the thin pop dots once again, to lift this image up. So I've put adhesive on the back. What I'm going to do is just slide this under to be where I want it, like there. And now I'm going to do the bingo card next. So now I've got the adhesive on that, and I'm going to have it sticking out like that. For this image, again, I'm going to use the dimensional thin adhesive. Now when I put this in, it's going to just give a little pop, which will be nice. And I think that'll go just like that. So I really like how that looks now. It adds a little bit of interest, and it's a little bit playful, still on the Paris theme. So going on to the inside portion of this area, again, I do want to do another journaling area. so whoever gets this album can add some journaling to the album. And again, I'm going to adhere this flat. Now that I have the adhesive on, I'm ready to put this in. And I think I'm going to continue with my angles, just like so. And to decorate this area, I have this little stamp, which all it is I cut it from a Graphic 45 piece of cardstock or pattern paper that they had produced a few years ago. For this area, I will use the little pop dots, the thin pop dots again. And just like so. Now this area here, this is actually a pocket. As you can see, this pulls in and out. And all I've done was put in here was a Tim Holtz ticket. And for this section here, I've actually made a pull-out tag, and I've adhered a Project Life card to it that I thought would totally fit this album. And again, you can probably stamp some things to add some more interest and variety to this album. For right now, I just adhered this, and I've used my Stampin' Up! Punch, which is unfortunately retired. I'm not sure why they retired it. It's such a good seller. But this punch is what I use to create this little tab, which I'm going to put on the pullout. So to do this, I'm just going to again use some Tombow Multi, and I'm not going to put too much because I don't want it to be messy. And I like to line it up right in the middle with this edge on the top. And then once I get that edge on the top, I'm able to flip it over and adjust it to fit perfectly. And for this, I'm just going to rub a little bit to make sure that it sticks down. Now throughout this album, I've inked a lot of places, and I've been using this Distress ink from Tim Holtz, a vintage photo, which seems to be everybody's favorite for vintage. So I'm just going to finish off that fold of that tab, and now that's going to go in there nicely. And again, it just adds a little bit of interest, something to pull out, something to write on, something to add pictures on. So this area is pretty good right now throughout. I will come back and add some gold accents to the area. Going into the different spots in the album, I'm going to close these and open this one up, and now we will decorate this area. For this area, I wanted to add something decorative here, so I took a white doily and I just cut off the edge and rounded this corner here so it would match in with the rounded corners here. And I just took some of the Distress ink and just inked a little bit of it so it wasn't so white in this album. And I'm going to put this down. I'm going to again use the Tombow Multi. So I put the Tombow Multi on, and now I'm going to add this, trying to get it right in the spot it needs to go. So I've added the doily here. I just used the Tombow Multi glue, and for an accent on top, I actually die cut this key out of this Spellbinder set. It's the Love Locket set, and I just love this little set. It's really cute. I thought I would add this key somehow, some way, just as an accent. And for this key, I'm going to again use the thin pop dots, because I find these pop dots really a great way to add elements like this. You know they won't fall off, and then it gives you a bit of dimension too. Okay, so I just added the pop dots there, and now I just have to figure out which way I want to put it. Maybe like this would be nice. Now these are white pop dots, and you don't want to stick a white pop dot under here, so you can use a Zot instead, which is clear. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add a little Zot under there and adhere that just like that. So now that adds a bit of interest into this pocket area. So just like the other pocket, I found again another Project Life card that I made this little tag and adhered it to. And I have another punched tab from the Stampin' Up! Tab, and I will adhere that as well to that. So I've just added a little glue, and now I'm going to place this on, again lining it up with the top, and then folding it over and then adjusting as I need to. I find it's easier to adjust once it's on, and that's what's nice about using the wet glue, is you can kind of wiggle it to get it exactly where you want it. And now I'm just going to ink this edge here with my Distress ink. And there we go, that's such a cute little tag, enjoy the little things in life, and put that in the pocket there. For this section here, I had this little leaf floating on some water image, and I thought this was really nice and tranquil, and I really liked it, so I thought I'd put it into this album. So again, just trying to figure out which way to put it. Again, it's going to go up on Pop Dots. So I've got it up on Pop Dots like this, and I'm going to put it across these music notes like that. And I picked this little flower out, and I just need to pick out a brad that will be appropriate for this area. I'm just going to go into my little brad collection here and pull out a simple gold one. I like to add a little bit of gold throughout this album, just to add it to the end here. Get rid of the tails. It's the only annoying thing about hot glue is the strings that are left behind. So yeah, that is on there now. Going into this middle section that flips open, I wanted to have again an area that could possibly be a journaling spot, but could be left alone, or even a picture adhered to it. So I've chosen this one. It says "For the Record," and again, this is another one of those Project Life cards that I've just cut and inked up. And what I'd like to do is I want to put it on the edge here and then have this little fleur-de-lis coming out of the corner. I've just added some adhesive to the back. And again, I would like to have this like so. So I'm going to make sure I place it where I want to have the little fleur-de-lis, and that is exactly where I'm going to put it. For this die cut, what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of Tombow Multi. I just added some Tombow Multi, and I'm going to add this carefully to the side, just like so. I'm just going to rub this on here. There, I just rubbed that on there, and now that, I think it looks great. For this bottom section, again, I'm using the Spellbinders Motifs and Accents set. There's actually this long border die, and I just cut a little bit out, and I thought it would look great along the edge of this mat. So again, I'm going to use the Tombow Multi to adhere this. So now I've just put the wet adhesive there, and I'm going to place it onto the side of this mat. And I tried to cut it even so that these two fleur-de-lis would sit nicely on the mat. And again, I'm just going to rub it so that it is down really well. Now, another element from this die set was this die. I cut out the die with black cardstock, and then I took some of the pattern paper and I just found a circle die that would fit this, and I thought it would look cute to have this here. You could put a picture there, you could just add your own element there. There, so I've got that up on Pop Dots, and now I'm just going to place it onto the card mat. So I really like how it looks. There's no chunky chipboards in here, there's no bulky flowers, but it is very well decorated and has lots of interesting areas. And I think to continue on the gold theme, I'd like to bring in some more gold bling just to add as accents here and there. Let's see, I'm going to add 3 little bling here on this middle section, just like that. When I open up the middle, I think I'd like to have some gold accents somewhere else on the inside as well. I put the gold accents here, and I think what I'd like to do is put a gold accent on this tab here. So I'm going to just take one of the gold bling and just add it. I don't know if you can see, but it really helps it add some decoration again to the album. And I really like that, how that adds just a little bit of gold onto the various spots. So to add a little decoration to this top area, I grabbed this sticker set, and I believe it isn't sold anymore, but I thought the accents were perfect. And so with this sticker set, I'm going to add these little corner accents to this mat here. I think it'll just help add some interest to this area. And you can see just like that. I also liked from this sticker set this word beautiful, and I thought it would look really good down here on the bottom. I was just going to partially tuck it under this die cut, and place it right here. And again, these little flat accents add so much. So this is what it looks like. And I really like how that just adds a little bit of decoration to the paper mat. So now that this piece is done, I'm going to leave this piece undecorated at the moment, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate the front first so that I can see how bulky it is, and then I can decide what I want to put here. I might put something extremely flat here just so that there's not a lot of bulk. So on the front, we open this up. I'm going to decorate the front, and we're going to do a ribbon closure to close up the album. So we'll have to put that in. And I picked some pieces that I really like, and I've kind of got it here all ready figured out. And I found this clock from the Jolie's collection. I really like that. I think that's great. It's got the gold accents again, the music note paper, a little stamp, a picture of the Eiffel Tower. So I think this really, really looks good. Probably put some gold bling after I'm done, and with the ribbon coming here, I think it'll be really good. So to start this out, I'm going to adhere this piece here. Like so, and just make sure it's nice and stuck on. Now for this music note paper, and I'm just going to center it on the mat, like so. And then this again is the border punch from the Spellbinders motif set, and I'm just going to use some Tombow multi-glue again. Just pushing the die cut into place here with the glue. Okay, so now that I've figured out where I want things to place, I want to have this here and this sticking out. So what I've done is I've made sure that I'm going to have the ribbon in the right spot. And what I've started to do is I just put the ribbon down, and I've taken little pieces of score tape and I've put it across the ribbon like so, so that the ribbon won't move. It's down very well with that score tape. To cover up this, I'm going to take this plain black cardstock and just adhere it over. So that's what we're going to do now. I've got the score tape on, And now we're going to put the backing on, and I just want to line it up as close as possible to the edges so we don't have any cardstock sticking over the edges. And now when we bring this down, I'll be able to tie a bow with the ribbon. One thing, I like to adhere just a little bit of this ribbon down so it doesn't stick up. So I'm just going to take a little of this adhesive and just run it a little bit down so that I can get my ribbon right into place like that. So now that's not going to flop around. And as you can see, the back is nice and tidy, and the front's starting to look really good there too. So now, because we have this piece down, we're going to be able to decorate the rest of the front. We're going to take our image of the Eiffel Tower and we're going to put some pop dots on it. And again, trying to figure out before I put it down exactly where I want it. This piece is going to come like this, maybe like this. So yeah, I think that's going to go like that. And before I stick it down on this side, I'm just going to take the backing off this sticker and get this placed down as well. So I want that kind of sticking out like that. And now I can push the whole piece down, and there, now we can see it's looking good. Now to just add this piece. Okay, so I think I'd like to have my clock over here. I just moved this sticker up a little bit because I didn't quite like it where it was. That's the way it looks right now. And just to add a little bit more gold, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of these little bling like that. And that just adds a little bit more gold to the front, kind of tying the whole piece together. So I love this front. It just really looks nice. I really like the layout. And now we can tie this up and see how much room we have for that last piece that we're going to do. This is going to tie up nicely, like so. Like that, and then we'll just be able to cut that piece. So yeah, it's not overly bulky. It looks like we'll have a little bit of room to put something here. So this is the piece that I'm going to decorate now. I picked out this piece that says Memories with the Clock, which will go perfectly with this theme, and I've just grabbed some black cardstock to back it with. And what I'm going to do is I've already inked it, so I'm going to just attach it, and I'm going to use this as my focal point of opening into this album. So now we're going to put this, I love to put things at an angle. We've got this one going this way, maybe this one could go the same way like that. And I think to add some consistency, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some more of this bling and just add a few dots into this corner, like so. And again, pretty simple, but it really looks good, and I think it adds a lot to the page. So now if we go back to the beginning of the album, we can look at the whole piece together. So here's the front, and as we open it up, we've got that decorated page which opens up like that, and we've got this tag. And again, people can journal on the back, because if you use a white pen or a pencil, you can journal on the back black paper. And there's the page we just did. And if we open up here, that opens like that. And I just love how that looks. And a little place for the picture there. And once we open here, we've got a couple pull-out tags, which is nice. Yeah, I really like this album for such simple accents. It really is striking. And because I've matted everything with the black cardstock, I think that really helps each of the images or the pictures like stand out. One thing I found that if you tie your bows upside down, which sounds funny, but it always seems to work out for me, if I tie them upside down, that when I turn it around, it's about perfect. So yeah, there's the album. I hope you enjoyed watching me finish and decorate this album. Please check out my website at www.kellyscards.ca, and I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day.